Jeremiah 49 to 52. Concerning the Ammonites, this is what Yahweh says. Has Israel no sons? Has he no heir? Why then does Malcham possess Gad, and his people dwell in its cities? Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will cause an alarm of war to be heard against Rabbah and of the children of Ammon. It will become a desolate heap, and her daughters will be burned with fire. Then Israel possessed those who possess him, says Yahweh. Wail, Heshbon, for Ai is laid waste. Cry, you daughters of Rabbah. Clothe yourselves in sackcloth, lament, and run back and forth among the fences. For Malcham will go into captivity, his priests and his princes together. Why do you boast in the valleys? Your flowing valley, backsliding daughter. You trusted in her treasures, saying, who will come to me? Behold, I will bring a terror on you, says Adonai Elohi Tzvaot. From all who are around you, of all of you will be driven completely out, and there will be no one to gather together the fugitives. But afterward I will reverse the captivity of the children of Ammon, says Yahweh. Concerning Edom, this is what Adonai Tzvaot says. Is wisdom no more than Teman? Has counsel perished from the prudent? Has their wisdom vanished? Flee, turn back, dwell in the depths, inhabitants of Dedan. For I will bring the calamity of Esau on him, the time when I visit him. If grape gatherers come to you, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves came by night, would they not destroy until they had enough? But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he will not be able to hide himself. His offspring is destroyed with his brothers and his neighbors, and he is no more. Leave your fatherless children. I will preserve them alive. Let your widows trust in me. This is what Yahweh says. Behold, those whose judgment was not to drink the cup will certainly drink, and are you he who will altogether go unpunished? You will not go unpunished, but you will surely drink. For I have sworn by myself, says Yahweh, that Bozrah will become an astonishment, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all its cities will be perpetual wastes. I have heard news from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the nations, saying, gather yourselves together, come against her, rise up to the battle. For behold, I have made you small among the nations, and despised among men. As for your terror, the pride of your heart has deceived you. O you who dwell in the clefts of the rock, who hold the high of the hill, though you shall make your nest as high as the eagle, I will bring you down from there, says Yahweh. Edom will become an astonishment. Everyone who passes by it will be astonished, and will hiss at all its plagues. As in the overgrowth of Sodom and Gomorrah, and its neighboring cities, says Yahweh, no man will dwell there, neither will any son of man live therein. Behold, he will come up like a lion from the pride of the Jordan, against this strong habitation. For I will suddenly make them run away from it, and whoever is chosen, I will appoint him over it. For who is like me? Who will appoint me at a time? Who is the shepherd who will stand before me? Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh, that he has taken against Edom, and his purposes that he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely they will drag them away, and little ones of the flock. Surely he will make their habitation desolate over them. The earth trembles at the noise of their fall. There is a cry, and the noise which is heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he will come up and fly as the eagle, and spread out his wings against Bozrah. The heart of the mighty men of Edom at that day will be as the heart of a woman in her pangs of Damascus. Hamath is confounded, and Arpad, for they have heard evil news. They have melted away. There is sorrow on the sea. It cannot be quiet. Damascus has grown feeble. She turns herself to flee and trembles. and trembling has seized her. Anguish and sorrow have taken hold of her, as of a woman in travail. How is the city of praise not forsaken, the city of my joy? Therefore her young men will fall in her streets, and all the men of war will be brought to silence in that day, says Adonai Sabaoth. I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it will devour the palaces of Benhadad. Concerning Kedar. And the kingdoms of Hazar, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon struck, this is what Yahweh says, Arise, go up to Kedar, and destroy the children of the east. They will take their tents and their flocks. They will carry away themselves their curtains, all their vessels, and their camels. And they will cry to them, Terror on every side. Flee, wander far off. Dwell in the depths, you inhabitants of Hazor, says Yahweh. For Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has taken counsel against you, and has conceived a purpose against you. Arise, go up to a nation that is at ease, that dwells without care, says Yahweh, that has neither gates nor bars, that dwells alone. Their camels will be a booty, and their multitude of their livestock a plunder. I will scatter to all the winds those who have the corners of their beards cut off, and I will bring their calamity from every side of them, says Yahweh. Hazar will be a dwelling place of jackals, a desolation forever. No man will dwell there, neither will any son of man live therein. The word of Yahweh that came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning Elam, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah, saying, This is what Adonai Sabaoth says, Behold, I will bring the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. I will bring on Elam the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and I will scatter them toward all those winds. There will be no nation where the outcast of Elam will not come. I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies and before those who seek their life. I will bring evil on them, my fierce anger, says Yahweh. I will send the sword after them until I have consumed them. I will set my throne in Elam, and will destroy them from the king and princes, says Yahweh. But it will happen in the end of days that I will reverse the captivity of Elam, says Yahweh. The word of Yahweh spoke concerning Babylon, concerning the land of Kistem, by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare among the nations and publish, and set up a standard. Publish, and do not conceal. Say, Babylon has been taken. Bel is disappointed. Merodach is dismayed. Her images are disappointed. Her idols are dismayed. For a nation has come up out of the north against her, which will make her land desolate, and no one will dwell in it. They have fled, they are gone, both man and animal. In those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the sons of Israel will come, they and the children of Judah together. They will go on their way weeping, and will seek Yahweh their God. They will inquire concerning Zion, with their faces turned toward it, saying, Come, join yourselves to Yahweh in an everlasting covenant that will not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray, and have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from the mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All who found them have devoured them. Their adversaries said, We are not guilty, because we have sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of righteousness, Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. Flee out of the middle of Babylon. Go out of the land of Kistim, and be as the male goats before the flocks. For behold, I will stir up and cause to come up against Babylon a company of great nations from the north country. They will set themselves in array against her, and she will be taken from there. Their arrow will be as an expert mighty man. None of them will return in vain. Kistim will be a prey. All who prey on her will be satisfied, says Yahweh. Because you are glad, because you rejoice, O you who plunder my heritage, though you frolic like a heifer, threshing grain, and neigh like stallions. Your mother will be utterly disappointed. She who bore you will be confounded. Behold, she will be the least of the nations, a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because the wrath of Yahweh, she will not be inhabited, but she will be wholly desolate. Everyone who goes by Babylon will be astonished and hiss at her plagues. Set yourselves in array against Babylon all around, all you who bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against Yahweh. Shout against her all around. She has submitted herself. Her foundations have fallen. Her walls have been thrown down. For it is a vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance on her, as she has done to her. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him who handles the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of their pressing sword, they will each turn their own people. They will each flee to their own land. Israel is a haunted sheep. The lions have driven him out. First, the king of Assyria devoured him, and now, at last, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has broken his bones. Therefore, this is what Adonai Sabaoth, the God of Israel, says: Behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. I will bring Israel again to his pasture, and will feed on Carmel and Bashan. His soul will be satisfied on the hills of Ephraim and in Gilead. In those days and at that time, says Yahweh, the iniquity of Israel will be sought for, and there will be none. Also the sins of Judah, and they will not be found. For I will pardon them whom I leave as a remnant. Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against the inhabitants of Pekod. Kill and utterly destroy after them, says Yahweh, and do according to all that I have commanded you. A sound of battle is in the land, and a great destruction. How the hammer and the whole earth is cut apart and broken. How Babylon has become a desolation among the nations. I have laid a snare for you, and you are also taken, Babylon, and you were not aware. You are found and also caught, because you have fought against Yahweh. Yahweh has opened his armory, and has brought out the weapons of his indignation. For Adonai Sabaoth, has a work to do in the land of Kistim. Come against her from the furthest border, open her storehouses. Cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bulls. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe to them! For their day has come, the time of their visitation. Listen to those who flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh our God, the vengeance of his temple. Call together the archers against Babylon, all those who bend the bow. Encamp against her all around. Let no one in it escape. Pay her back according to her work, according to all that she has done due to her. For she has been proud against Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore her young men will fall in her streets. All her men of war will be brought to silence in that day, says Yahweh. Behold, I am against you, you proud one, says Adonai Elohi Sabaoth. For your day has come, the time that I will visit you. The proud one will stumble and fall, and no one will raise him up. I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it will devour all who are around him. This is what Adonai Sabaoth says: the son of Israel and the children of Judah are oppressed together, and those who took captive hold them fast, and they refuse to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. Adonai Sabaoth is his name. He will thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the earth and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. The sword of Kistim, says Yahweh, and on the inhabitants of Babylon, on her princes and on her wise men. A sword is on the boasters, and they will become fools. A sword is on her mighty men, and they will be dismayed. A sword is on their horses and on their chariots, and on the mixed people, and on all who are in the middle of her. And they will become as women. A sword is in her treasures, and they will be robbed. A drought is in her waters, and they will be dried up. For it is the land of engraved images, and they are mad over idols. Therefore the wild animal of the desert with the wolves will dwell there, the ostriches will dwell therein, and it will be inhabited no more forever. Neither will it be lived in from generation to generation, as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and its neighboring cities, says Yahweh, so no man will dwell there, neither will any son of man live therein. Behold, a people comes from the north, and a great nation, and many kings will be stirred up from the uttermost parts of the earth. They take up bow and spear. They are cruel and have no mercy. Their voice roars like the sea. They ride on horses, set in array. As a man to the battle against you, daughter of Babylon, the king of Babylon has heard the news of them, and his hands became feeble. Anguish has taken hold of him, pains as of a woman in labor. Behold, the enemy will come up like a lion from the pride of the Jordan against the strong habitation, for I will suddenly make them run away from it. Whoever is chosen, I will appoint him over it. For who is like me? Who will appoint me a time? Who is a shepherd who can stand before me? Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he has taken against Babylon and his purposes, and he has proposed against the land of Kistim. Surely they will drag them away, even the little ones of the flocks. Surely they will make their own habitation desolate over them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth trembles, and the cry is heard among the nations. This is what Yahweh says: Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against those who dwell in Lebkamia a destroying wind. I will send to Babylon strangers who will winnow her. They will empty her land, for in the day of trouble they will be against her all around. Against him who bends, let the archer bend his bow. Also against him who lifts himself up in his coat of mail. Do not spare young men. Utterly destroy all her army. They will fall down slain in the land of Kistim, and thrust through in her streets. For Israel is not forsaken, nor Judah, by his God, by Adonai Svaot, though their land is full of guilt against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the middle of Babylon, everyone save his own life. Do not be cut off in her iniquity, for it is in the time of vengeance of Yahweh. He will render to her a recompense. Babylon has been a golden cup in the hand of Yahweh, who made all the earth drink. The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations have gone mad. Babylon has suddenly fallen and been destroyed. Wail for her, take balm for her pain. Perhaps she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let each go into his own country. For her judgment reaches to heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Yahweh has produced our righteousness. Come, let us declare in Zion the work of Adonai Eloheinu. Make the arrows sharp, hold the shields firmly. Yahweh has stirred up the spirit of the king of Medes, because his purpose is against Babylon, to destroy it. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Set up a standard against the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set a watchman, and prepare the ambushes. For Yahweh has both proposed and done that which he has spoken concerning the inhabitants of Babylon. You who dwell in many waters, abundant in treasures, your end has come. The measures of your covetousness Adonai Svaot has sworn by himself. Surely I will fill you with men as with locusts, and they will lift up a shout against you. He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom. By his understanding he has stretched out the heavens. When he utters his voice, there is a roar of the waters in the heavens. He has caused the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightning for the rain, and brings the wind out of his treasures. Every man has become brutish without knowledge. Every goldsmith is disappointed by his image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, and work delusion. In the time of their visitation they will perish. The portion of Jacob is not like these, for he is the former of all things, including the tribe of his inheritance. Adonai Svaot is his name. You are my battle axe and weapons of war. With you I will break the nations into pieces. With you I will destroy kingdoms. With you I will break in pieces the horse and his rider. With you I will break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With you I will break in pieces man and woman. With you I will break in pieces the old man and the youth. With you I will break in pieces the young man and the virgin. With you I will break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. With you I will break in pieces the farmer and his yoke. With you I will break in pieces the governors and deputies. I will render to Babylon to all the inhabitants of Kistim, for all their evil they have done in Zion, in your sight, says Yahweh. Behold, I am against you, destroying mountains, says Yahweh, which destroys all the earth. I will stretch out my hand on you, roll you down from the rocks, and you will make, and I, and will make you a burned mountain. They will not take a cornerstone from you, nor a stone for foundations, for you will be desolate forever, says Yahweh. Set up a standard in the land, blow the shofar among the nations, prepare the nations against her. Call together against the kingdoms of Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a marshal against her. Cause the horses to come up like a rough locust. Prepare against her the nations, the kingdoms of the Medes, the governors, and all the deputies, and all the land of the dominion. The land trembles as in pain, for the purposes of Yahweh against Babylon stand, to make the land of Babylon a desolation, without inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have stopped fighting. They remain in their strongholds. Their might has failed. They have become as women. Her dwelling places are set on fire. Her bars are broken. One runner will run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken on every side. So the passages are seized. They have burned the reeds with fire. The men of war are frightened. For this is what Adonai Zvaot, the God of Israel, says: The daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor, at the time when it is trodden. Yet a little while, and the time of harvest comes for her. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has devoured me. He has crushed me. He has made me an empty vessel. Like a monster, he has swollen me up. He has filled his mouth with my delicacies. He has cast me out. May the violence done to me and to my flesh be on Babylon. The inhabitants of Zion will say, May my blood be on the inhabitants of Kistim. Jerusalem will say. Therefore this is what Yahweh says: Behold, I will plead your cause, and take vengeance for you. I will dry her up. I will dry up her sea, and make her fountain dry. Babylon will become heaps, a dwelling place of jackals, an astonishment, and a hissing without inhabitant. They will roar together like young lions. They will growl as lions' clubs. When they are heated, I will make their feast, and I will make them drunk, and that they may rejoice, sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake up, says Yahweh. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with male goats. How Sheshach is taken, how the praise of the whole earth is seized, how Babylon has become a desolation among the nations. The sea has come up on Babylon. She is covered with a multitude of its waves. Her cities have become desolation, a dry land and a desert, a land in which no man dwells. No son of man passed by it. I will execute judgment on Bel in Babylon, and I will bring out of his mouth that which was swallowed up, and the nations will no longer flow to him. Yes, the wall of Babylon will fall. My people, go out of the midst of her, and each of you save yourselves from the fierce anger of Yahweh. Do not let your heart faint. Do not fear for the rumor that will be heard in the land. For a rumor will come 1 year, and after that, in another year, a rumor will come, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days come, and I will execute judgment on the engraved images of Babylon, and her whole land will be confounded. All her slain will fall in the middle of her. Then the heavens and the earth and all that is therein will sing for joy over Babylon. For the destroyers will come to see her from the north, says Yahweh. As Babylon has caused the slain of Israel to fall, so the slain of all the land will fall at Babylon. You have escaped the sword. Go, do not stand still. Remember Yahweh from afar, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. We are confounded, because we have heard reproach. Confusion has covered our faces, for strangers have come into the sanctuaries of the house of Yahweh. Therefore, behold, the days have come, says Yahweh, that I will execute judgment on her engraved images, and through all her land, and the wounded will groan. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet destroyers will come to her from me, says Yahweh. The sound of cries comes from Babylon, and a great destruction from the land of Kistim. For Yahweh lays Babylon waste, and destroys out of her the great voice. Their waves roar like many waters. The noise of their voices is uttered. And the destroyer has come on her, even on Babylon. Her mighty men are taken, their bows are broken in pieces, for Yahweh is a God of retribution. He will surely repay. I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her governors, her deputies, her mighty men. They will sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake up, says the king, whose name is Adonai Svaot. This is what Adonai Svaot says: the wide walls of Babylon will be utterly overthrown. Her height gates will be burned with fire. The people will labor in vanity, and the nations of the fire, and they will be weary. The word of Jeremiah the prophet concerning Siri, the son of Neri, the son of Messiah, when he went with Zedekiah the king of Judah to Babylon in the 4th year of his reign. Now Siri was chief quartermaster. So Jeremiah wrote in a book all the evil that should come on Babylon, all these words that were written concerning Babylon. And Jeremiah said to Siri, when you come to Babylon, then see that you have read all these words, says Yahweh. You spoke concerning this place to cut it off, and no one will dwell in it, neither man nor animal, but that it will be desolate forever. It will be, when you have finished reading this book, that you should bind a stone to it, cast it into the middle of the Euphrates. Then you shall say, thus will Babylon sink, and will not rise again. Therefore the evil that I bring on her, and they will be weary. Thus far the words of Jeremiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. He did which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that Joachim had done. For though the anger of Yahweh had happened in Jerusalem and Judah, until he had cast them out from his presence, Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon in the 9th year of his reign. In the 9th month, in the 9th day of the month, Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came, he and all his army, against Jerusalem, and camped against it, and they built forts against it round about. So the city was besieged in the 11th year, king of Zedekiah. In the 4th month, in the 9th day of the month, the famine was so severe in the city that there was no bread of the people in the land. Then the breach was made in the city, and all the men of war fled, and went out of the city by night, in the way of the gate between the two walls, that which was by the king's garden. Now the Kestim were in the city walls all around. The men of the war went toward Arabah. But the army of Kestim pursued the king and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. Then they took the king and carried him up to the king of Babylon to Riblah in the land of Hamath, and he pronounced judgment on him. Then the king of Babylon killed the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and he also killed all the princes of Judah in Riblah. He put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and the king of Babylon bound him in fetters and carried him to Babylon and put him in prison until the day of his death. Now this is the 5th month of the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, who stood before the king of Babylon, came into Jerusalem. He burned the house of Yahweh and the king's houses and all the houses of Jerusalem, even every great house. He burned with fire. All the army of Kestim, who were with the captain of the guard, broke down all the walls of Jerusalem all around. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, carried away captive the poorest of the people and the residue of the people who were left in the city, and those who fell away, who fell to the king of Babylon, and the residue of the multitude. But Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, left the poorest of the land by vineyard keepers and farmers. And the Kestim broke the pillars of bronze that were in the house of Yahweh, and the bases and the bronze sea that were in the house of Yahweh in pieces, and carried away all the bronze to Babylon. They also took away the pots, the shovels, the snuffers, the basins, the spoons, and all the vessels of the bronze which they ministered. The captain of the guard took away the cups, the fire pans, and the basins, the pots, the menorahs, the spoons, the bowls, and that which was of gold, and that which was of silver, and silver. They took the 2 pillars of one sea, and the 12 bronze bowls that were under the basins, which King Solomon had made for the house of Yahweh. The bronze of all the vessels that was below in the weight. As for the pillars, the height of one pillar was 18 cubits, and a line of 12 cubits encircled it, and its thickness, its 4 fingers, it was hollow. A captain of bronze was on it, and the height of the one capital was 5 cubits, with network and pomegranates on the capital all around, all of bronze. and the second pillar also like these, and the pomegranates. These were 96 pomegranates on one side. All the pomegranates were 100 on the network all around. The captain of the guard took Siri, the chief Kohen, and Zephaniah, the second Kohen, and the 3 keepers of the threshold. And out of the city he took the officers who were set over the men of war, and 7 men of those who saw the king's face, who were found in the city, and the scribe of the captain of the army, who mustered the people of the land, and the 60 men of the people of the land, who were found in the middle of the city. Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon to Riblah. The king of Babylon struck them and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was carried away captive out of his land. This is the number of the people whom Nebuchadnezzar carried away captive. In the 7th year, 3,023 Jews. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832 persons. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, carried away captive of the Jews 745 people. All the people were 4,600. In the 37th year of the captain of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 25th day of the month, evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and released him from prison. He spoke kindly to him, set his throne above the throne of the kings who were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments. Jochian ate bread before him continually all the days of his life. For his allowance, there was a continual allowance given to him by the king of Babylon, every day a portion until the day of his death, all the days of his life.